Paper Mario was first released on August 11th, 2000 for the Nintendo 64, with later re-releases onto the Wii and Wii U's Virtual Console, Nintendo Switch Online service, and whatever the hell an IQ player is. Originally what was planned to be Super Mario RPG 2, with Square Enix returning to develop this sequel, fell through as Square turned down the offer to instead work on Final Fantasy VII, which left Nintendo's new choice of developers and Intelligent Systems to pick up the pieces. Now with this new team at the helm, it was quickly decided to distance their title from Mario's previous RPG adventure, story-wise at least, and turn this game into a new series while still containing many of the gameplay elements that made the previous game so great. So does this first game in this new Mario RPG series live up to or even exceed its predecessor? Or does it deserve to be crumbled up and thrown away? Let's find out. After his many defeats, Bowser decides this time to take a more planned-out approach in order to finally defeat Mario. His plan this time around is to invade the Star Haven, which is home to the mystical and powerful Star Rod, and steal it for himself, as well as get rid of the 7 star spirits that guard it. With the Star Rod now in his possession, Bowser proceeds to imprison the star spirits and send them to 7 of his most powerful minions in different locations throughout the Mushroom Kingdom. During all this, Princess Peach is hosting a party down at her castle, with Mario being amongst the many guests there. Bowser, with his new power at hand, decides not only to crash the party and attempt to do what he does best, kidnap the princess, but he also somehow managed to get his castle in a gigantic clown car beneath Peach's castle, which allows him to fly both castles high up into the sky and thus trap everyone inside. Mario jumps to Peach's defense to presumably yet again defeat the evil King Koopa, and during their fight it actually seems like history was going to repeat itself. But before the heroic plumber can do too much damage, Bowser whips out the Star Rod and uses it to increase his power, making all of Mario's attacks harmless to him. With Bowser now seemingly invincible, he quickly defeats Mario and disposes of the Jumpman by throwing him out the window. After somehow surviving the fall back to Earth, Mario is contacted by the imprisoned star spirits and is caught up on what Bowser had done in Star Haven. He is also told that the only way to stop Bowser and the Star Rod is to rescue all 7 of the star spirits before he becomes too powerful and in turn truly unstoppable. It is now up to Mario to quest to the many different corners of the Mushroom Kingdom, defeat many nasty enemies that stand in his way, meet a diverse cast of characters, partner up with new friends, and free all the star spirits before it's too late. Like the name implies, this game stylistically looks like a playable children's picture book. Everything in this game is made of paper, from the buildings and people to the water and even the sky. The backgrounds and foregrounds look like they were colored in with crayons, all of the characters are creatively designed, and the game is just in general so bright and colorful and pleasing to look at. Finally, I want to say that because of the stylized nature of this game, it not only stood out from its early 3D peers when it was released, but that it also holds up much better than those aforementioned early 3D releases in the modern day. This game is an RPG, meaning that most of it revolves around turn-based fighting with a bit of world exploration sprinkled in. You will explore the overworld and meet many diverse characters, discover its many secrets, and get into battles with roaming enemies. Within these battles lays the core turn-based gameplay that this genre is known for. You will attack and defend against your foes with precise button presses, which has been refined and simplified from Super Mario RPG. Just like any other RPG, you will have a set of health and a special move power known as flower points in this game, as well as items and super moves that can be used while in battle. This brings me to one of the more unique sticking points that this game does offer, the badge system, which is this game's equivalent of an equipment system. With this system, you are able to collect or buy badges, then use badge points to equip them, then be able to use a special attack or the bonus effect that they give. The first unique part comes when leveling up, in which you are allowed to choose what you want increased, your health points, flower points, or your badge points. The second unique part comes from the fact that there is no badge equip limit, so you could basically continuously increase your badge points and equip as many badges as you want, allowing you to have a very expansive arsenal when playing. With this mainly being an RPG game with a little bit of world exploration sprinkled in means that most of the controls come down to selecting your moves within menus and pressing the right button when attacking or defending against enemies with the action commands. This means that most of the controls are based around timing your button presses in order to get the maximum output of damage or defense, and because of this, it makes the controls be pretty difficult to learn but also very rewarding when you perfect them. On the other hand, when controlling Mario in the overworld, you have full normal control over him and his actions, although don't expect to be able to perform triple jumps, wall kicks, or anything else spectacular like that. This game is told in the form of a storybook with 8 chapters, a prologue, and an interlude between the prologue and every chapter. The prologue and each chapter have their own self-contained stories, characters, locations, enemies, and they all end with a unique boss. Some of these include a castle fortress held by wannabe supervillain Koopas, a toy box run amok with Shy Guys, and an island with an active volcano. As for the interludes, you actually play as Princess Peach during these and get information for Mario to help him out on his quest. You will do this by sneaking around the castle and participating in some mini-games. I will admit that when playing as her compared to Mario, it is definitely more minimal on what you were able to do as well as your objectives to complete, but I will say that it is a nice change of pace to the normal game, and I do think that it is neat for Peach to be more proactive in the story and as a playable character to boot. You'd think a Mario game that is supposed to be a sort of introduction to the RPG genre to many kids would be easy. Well, think again. Because of the low amounts of health and damage that Mario and his partners can dole out and take versus the high amounts of damage and health that the enemies and bosses can deal and withstand, you're in for a pretty rough time. Granted, this can be mitigated by the classic RPG act of grinding to raise your level to either match your opponents or completely outrank them. You can also stock up on overpowered healing and attack items, as well as come across upgrade blocks to make your partners up to 2 times stronger, as well as them learning new moves. The music in this game is legendarily good and easily some of the best of the entire Mario series. It manages to seamlessly portray the playful atmosphere of the game perfectly within each track, as well as perfectly encompass the location, characters, or boss battles that it is representing. Some of my favorite tracks would have to include Toad Town, Dry Dry Ruins, Lava Piranha's boss theme, Shiver Mountain, the Crystal King's boss theme, and the final boss theme. So, is this title as good or even better than Mario's previous RPG adventure? Yes it is. By taking the elements that made Super Mario RPG so great and refining them for the next generation, Intelligent Systems had successfully created honestly not only one of the best RPGs for the Nintendo 64, but also of all time. Add in the fantastic music, timeless visuals, and the just and genuine uniqueness of the game, and it's easy to see why it is still a hit all these years later. And with that said, I would easily recommend this masterpiece RPG title. Thanks for watching.